Well, everybody, I lost my Grail card last night, and to put it lightly, it stings.
Goodbye, my love.
Hello to all my sports card collectors, investors, all of my collectibles friends. Another day, another card video. We are at the end of the week. Happy Friday to you. If you're new here and looking for just about daily sports cards and collectibles content with a little bit of humor and maybe some 80s, 90s nostalgia thrown in, then believe that you have come to the right place. Please hit the big red button down below, the subscribe button. If you like it, hit the like button and the notification bell if you are ready to be notified every time a new video comes out. It helps the algorithm thing, so thank you very much. Also, don't forget to connect with me on IG at SportsCardDad, and I'm also on the Twitter, the SportsCardDad. Before we get started, thank you to today's video sponsor, ComC, your home for buying, selling, and flipping all of the hottest trading cards. But seriously, you got to check out ComC. A lot of cards you will really not see anywhere else are on that platform. They are headed back to the National again this year in Atlantic City. If you happen to be going, they will be on site accepting submissions and giving away thousands of dollars in store credit. Take 40% off a lead and 30% off select submissions this year for items submitted on site at the National between Wednesday, July 27th and Sunday, July 31st. Just write Elite 40 or Select 30 on your submission slips, and they will be at booth 1240. All right, guys, I made a video a couple of weeks ago just talking about different things. And I did mention that I don't really have a set Grail card that I'm looking for. I really do feel like I'm about almost 5 years back into my hobby life, into collecting cards, and I'm still trying to find my way. I'm still finding new sets. I'm still finding new sports players, non-sports stuff. And so the idea of having kind of one Grail card to look up to, I do have a variety of cards that I'm shooting for, but the Grail card, you think about the Holy Grail, like it's the one. I haven't felt like I'm really there yet, as far as picking that card. Until yesterday, actually 2 days ago. Let's kind of go back a little bit. 2 days ago on eBay doing my scrolling thing, and I made a 5 cards that I'm targeting at the National. One of those included a 2001 Topps Chrome Drew Brees rookie card, the refractor version, and a PSA 9, because I'm looking at kind of price point. Card has come down off of its all-time highs. I'm a massive New Orleans Saints fan. Drew Brees is my PC guy, and so this is a card that's just always been on the list. It just haven't prioritized it, and so at the National, really kind of looking for that particular card. Well, 2 days ago, a black refractor BGS 9.5 popped up. Subgrades are 10 on the corners and 10 on the edges, 9.5 centering. Just an absolute gorgeous card. And I always thought, look, like the black refractor, way out of my price range. Never going to be able to touch one of these. But you know what? Card market coming down, recession stuff. There's some weird economic times. Certain prices have come down. So I'm like, you know what? Who knows? Maybe it's my time. Maybe I should be looking at this, right? And just as a comparison, those early 2000 Topps Chromes black refractors popular with other players as well. If you look at LeBron James, for example, his 2003 version, there's some on eBay right now for $30,000 to $40,000 depending on grade, etc. But his is numbered out of 500. The Breeze is numbered out of 100. So big difference there as far as the scarcity rarity. I'm not going to pretend like Drew Brees has the same sort of global appeal as a LeBron James, but I just wanted to make that reference, kind of make a comparison so you have something to look at in comparison to it. And so I'm looking at this card, and with about 8 hours left on the bidding, it's sitting there at about $1,900, just sitting there, not really much happening, kind of inching its way up a little bit. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I should prepare I need to come up with a plan. Like, I need to have a bid ready. I'm going to feel terrible if this thing sells for $2,200 or something. And I've never spent this much on a sports card before. The most I've ever spent on one particular card, probably about $1,200. And so, this is a thing where it's that threshold where I need to probably talk to my wife, talk to my spouse, let her know kind of what's going on. I talked to her and she's like, what? Like, that's some big money. Like, tell me more about it. So I told her a little bit background on the card, etc. etc., the importance of that particular Breeze card, Ultimate PC card, etc. And so she's like, all right, I trust you, do your thing. And I also look back at what's the sales history on this stuff. Like, give me an idea of what we're looking at here. So I look back August of 2019, a BGS 9.5 with no subgrades went for $4,550. And keep in mind, August of 2019 was really right before the boom. It was really right as things were starting to go nuts. So August 2019, I'm looking at that as like a pre-pandemic price, and even pre-pandemic, because cards started to really move in fall of 2019, not in March 2020. Yes, they did move in March 2020, but really that fall of 19 is when a lot of stuff started to move skyward. And so I was thinking like, well, okay, $4,500 is probably a fair price, just given the fact that, this is a pre-pandemic price, really, it's pre-boom. And so, to get it for what, $2,500? And that's where I set my limit at, because I don't have 10 grand for cards on one particular card. And so I was like, 53 is going to be my bid, and 33 cents, because 3 is my kind of our lucky number. So I'm like, got to throw some threes in there. And so $2,500, if I can steal this thing at $2,500, that would be incredible. And so there was kind of this rush, this chase, this thing where it's like the thing I thought was unattainable, I was like, I've got a legitimate chance. I might actually not just get a refractor, but a black refractor that's numbered, because the regular refractor is not numbered. The black refractor is numbered out of 100. This is a massive card, a huge Drew Brees card, arguably top 5 Drew Brees rookie card if we're looking at kind of the importance. Granted, you probably throw in some patch auto stuff, but really that's a huge card for a Drew Brees collector / investor / fan. So with all this build up, of course, the rush of like, man, what could be? This would be amazing, to be able to pick this card up. The card shot up to $6,500, $6,541.67 is where the auction ended. I took a look too at the bid history just to see, like, is there 0 bids? Was this thing shilled up or something? Which we never know if anything has been shilled, but I looked at the bid history, looked perfectly fine as far as just feedback and stuff, the amount of feedback on the bids. And so it just looked like it sold at a massive price. It is a Pop 7 BGS 9.5. Not many PSA options in that 9 and 10 either. So these cards just don't come up that often. And in 2016, the exact same card sold for $830, same serial number and everything, going back to 2016. So I don't know if that was the original seller or the original buyer of the card at $800. I was now like, hey, time to cash in. And man, he or she did cash in at $6,500. Now, granted, they could have flipped it, sold it along the way, but if they held on to it, that was a pretty massive haul, given it was an $800 card is where it sold, this exact copy, back in 2016. And so what did this teach me? This basically taught me that any given Sunday, and what I mean by that is, like in the NFL, any given Sunday means any team can beat any team any given Sunday. Talent gap is pretty small. Even the teams that are having a rough year, they can come in and beat the top team. It just any given Sunday it can happen. And in collectibles, any given Sunday, it only takes, a handful, really 2 bidders, 2 people that really want a card bidding up, or 10 people or whatever, that get a hold of a certain auction. Timing, a lot of it is timing, how many of them are on the market at any given point. But any given Sunday when it comes to collectibles, I didn't see this coming, especially with recession, economic worries, and all this stuff that are really realities. They're big picture realities here. And yes, I understand that high-end type cards, they still maintain and they're still setting record highs. But I was also thinking, this is Drew Brees. This isn't Michael Jordan. It's not LeBron James. It's not Babe Ruth. It's not, some of these monster kind of goats. Yes, he's my Saints goat. He's a huge guy in New Orleans. He's got a big following. He did break all the records before Tom Brady did. Let's just put that out there. Tom Brady just basically outlasted him. Brees will always have a fan base, a following. He'll have importance and so forth. But that was what shocked me, though, is just the big price on this being a Drew Brees card. And it made me feel good. Made me feel like, okay, well, there are certain segments of the hobby that are still kind of going strong depending on the card. It could be any given Sunday, any given day, this can happen. Has this ever happened to you where you've had kind of a Grail card within your sights? And I don't care if this is a $100 card or a $50,000 card. It's all relative relative to your situation, but a card that you've been wanting for a long time, like right in your crosshairs, and then you lost it at the last second. And if you have a story of where you got it back later, I'd like to hear that, because I think that's what I need to hear now. I need to hear that there will be another opportunity of this card at less than $6,000. Of course, that's the part we don't know. People always talk about like, don't FOMO into this or that or whatever. And that is true that you don't want to FOMO in. But the reality is, if this exact card has not sold since 2016, there are going to be these kind of, and granted, it might have been flipped and is just not in public auction. But the reality is there are certain cards that they just don't come up very often. They just don't. They don't come up often enough to where, and then do you happen to have the money at the time for it? There's so many variables. So this is kind of those long-term collecting / investing, things that we all have to work through. Tell me your stories in the comments below. Again, don't forget to check out comc.com. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.